Well, hello and welcome to an all-new Me and My Roku. I hope you're enjoying these classic episodes. We're going to play all 8 of the original Me and My Roku episodes from almost a decade ago. I knew these were going to be kind of historical in a sense. I didn't think Roku was going to last this long, and sure enough, almost 10 years later, we're still here. So I've decided to bring back the Me and My Roku podcast, and I am your host, Peter Clay. This particular episode, I decided to do a little new introduction, and because this is the episode that deals with private channels. Now, when the Roku first came out, this was kind of a big deal. A lot of networks like HGTV and home shopping networks and things like that didn't know what Roku was all about. So they would put in these private codes to kind of use as testing for streaming to see what their channels would look like and all that stuff. So it's kind of lost the luster, but they are still there. And on the details of this podcast, if you look at the text on there, I'll put an updated list for you to go check out, and you can see an all-new list of private channels. So this is kind of a historical episode of Me and My Roku. Coming up, we'll have more episodes once we get through the original 8, and I'm going to focus on channels that you don't need any subscription to. They're either ad-supported or they're just free on Roku, and we'll kind of lean that way for a series of events and go from there. Also, coming up later after the episode, I'm going to put in an old classic episode of Bummin Cousins, and it's just a clip. And I'm going to put that on there when it seemed like my original Roku, the Roku XD, when it apparently had died. So we'll have that on there for you as well. So please enjoy this episode of Me and My Roku. Here we go. This episode of Me and My Roku is brought to you by our good friends at archive.org, the keepers of the Internet Archive. One of the best things that's happened to the Internet, and please support this either by going to them or making a donation. They have housed our podcasts since we started back in 2008, and they've never asked anything of us other than a donation every now and then. Check them out, and you'll find not just podcasts, but written texts, music concerts, old movies, old TV shows, classic game shows. Check it out today at archive.org. And if you're an aspiring podcaster yourself, use them to host your podcast. Or if you're an aspiring author, it's a good way to test it out and put your work out there. And that way you can get your copyright and everything along those lines. Check it out today at archive.org, and we thank them for their support. The following is a special presentation of the Radio Affliction. It's now time for Me and My Roku with your host, Peter Clay. Episode 3, Private Channels Reporting for Duty. Hello again, this is Peter Clay, and welcome to Me and My Roku, Episode 3. We're going to get to private channels on this program, but let's go back and kind of look at what we've done in the past if you're just joining us. Once again, I needed a toy. It had to happen, and I had saved up a bunch of points and Amazon dollars from taking surveys and different points, codes under soda pops and all that stuff. And so I had enough to get a toy, and it was Black Friday, and there was a special going on, and all I had to do was pay for shipping to get it the next day, and it was fabulous. And so far, I'm really enjoying time with Me and My Roku. Anyway, first thing first, easy setup. It's basically hook it to your TV, hook it to power, and that's basically it. You can hook a network cable if you want. Otherwise, the wireless N connector on it works really good if you're on the same level as your router. I've noticed that if I try and put it on my lower level, which is my big TV too, unfortunately, but we have another high-def TV and we have another TV that isn't hooked up to anything right now since we got rid of our cable, which is why we need a Roku box. Well, I didn't need one, but I needed a toy, and it was fun.
So easy setup, that's about it. Hook it to the TV, hook it to power, and basically you're good to go. And you've got typically one or two choices, I think, if you're trying to be frugal and save like I'm trying to do right now, because we've cut cable, except for the internet, is Netflix or Hulu Plus. Now, I'm doing Netflix. My Bummin cousin, Jim Reed, is doing Hulu Plus, and he's finding that fascinating. But just remember, folks, he's famous on the internet for eating a raw beef sandwich. I'm not saying, I'm just, putting it out there. And then on the second program, we found some of the channels that I liked and didn't like so far. Besides Netflix, there was PubD Hub, which I am really liking a lot. I had a night where we had a blizzard here in Wisconsin, and the dearest was at a neighbor's house, little girly wine party type of thing. So I had a little time with me and my Roku. And I watched PubD Hub, and I watched a new film that they had shown there from 1948 called Blonde Ice. And it kept my attention. It was only about a little over an hour. That's what some of those movies lasted back in those days. And so I watched that and enjoyed it, and did other things too, but that's okay. And found some other things that I like. Twit.tv, if you're kind of a tech person and need to know, if you have a Roku and you already know how to hook it up, well, Twit TV is probably for you because you can understand things pretty simply. Leo Laporte and all of his network. And some things that I didn't like, I won't dwell on that. You can listen to that episode and find some things that you didn't like. So, I was kind of farting around, just going through my account on the website there, and I found a spot on the Roku.com and it says add codes for private channels. And private channels, what does that mean? Well, the public channels are what's in the channel store on the Roku, and that's where you find things like PubD Hub, Twit.tv, JTV, FlixFling, and Amazon Video on Demand. But there are other channels that are out there available for use, but they're just not putting it out there publicly. They're either testing it out, or they just want a limited audience, or that type of thing. And so I found a wealth of channels that were available privately. All you got to do then is just find the appropriate code and type it in the Roku.com website, and then the next time you go to your channel store or go back to your page then, your main screen, they show up. And I did find a website, and I'll give it to you now, but I'll also put it on radioaffliction.com, and that is Roku-channels.com. And there's a list of there, and then the codes that you can approach. So here are some of the ones that I found, and some major things like, YouTube. YouTube is a private channel. And what was nice about that was anything that I do on YouTube, I put in my account then, my videos show up, so I can show people what I've been doing. Plus anything that I favorite or like or anything like that then shows up so that I can see it on the big screen then. Woohoo! But like regular cable channels like HGTV, formerly Home and Garden Television, now everything's just an acronym, or not even an acronym, it's just a letter, HGTV. But shows like House Hunters and Real Estate Virgins and stuff like that. Or Real Estate Intervention, I think it's called. And so then, once again, to keep the missus happy, sometimes you have to do things not for yourself to justify such purchases. Hey, look, honey, the Home Shopping Network. So now we have Home Shopping Network and JTV, Jewelry Television. And so that kind of offsets things sometimes. And another one, this was interesting. It's called Pod TV. I don't know why they get that name, but this had a whole bunch of different things, like the podcasts from the major networks like CBS, ABC, and NBC. Just the audio versions that I could tell. Also ESPN, a lot of their shows that they put out, the audio. Now, once again, I'm not crazy about audio on my Roku for television, but it has come in handy on a couple of occasions where we've had guests over and said, oh, can you put music on? Because usually when we had cable television or something like that, you could just go to their music channels, which would either be Sirius XM or something like that. But this also has music channels on there, and that has come in handy. So Pod TV does have audio programs, but they also have some other video programs like TED, the TED conferences, if you've never seen them before. This is dangerous territory because you can actually learn things, and that's kind of scary, when you're just trying to be entertained. But typically, they're lectures that last typically about 15 minutes on a particular subject. And I found one that was very interesting called How the Office is the Worst Place to Get Work Done. So I was extremely fascinated by that. And it was a good lecture. And so it allowed you to favorite it so you could go back and watch it again and different things. So Pod TV is another one that I liked. So again, if there's other private channels that you're looking for, it's Roku-channels.com, and I'll have a link at radioaffliction.com for that. So private channels on top of the public channels, and I'm noticing that changes quite frequently. Now, channels may come and go, and I'll have more on that later as they come and go, because I forget which one's gone. I want to call it Crunchy Frog, but that's not right. There was a channel in there that was just added that has anime from Japan. And I've always been kind of interested in that, but I never wanted to take the time, to kind of do it. So now on your Roku, you've just got a couple of minutes, hey. It's kind of interesting, I wish it was dubbed. It's not. It's subtitled because it's in Japanese. But that's another new channel that's come on the Roku box. So, got lots of things going on. Since it's wintertime here in Wisconsin, I get lots of time with me and my Roku. Thank you for listening to Me and My Roku. For more, join us at radioaffliction.com or follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/radioaffliction. We'll see you next time on Me and My Roku.
So, here's one other thing here. We've had a death in the family. Our original Roku XD has passed away.
Oh.
Now, we still have two Rokus. We're not suffering at all here. But
Is that the music you play when somebody passes away? That's not right.
That's what the soundboard says I should do. I don't know why. But, well, let's just say
want,
here.
like Chopin's Death March or something.
Yeah, is that what that is?
Yeah.
I can do a search on it. Is that what it's called, too?
I have the CD in the other room. I'd have to look at it.
Well, you know what that is. It's in your jukebox.
It might be in the jukebox. Let me check. Hang on one second. You do your thing.
No, I got it. I got it. If that's what it's called.
You got it?
Yeah. Oh, you can get a ringtone of it.
It's actually a very, if you listen to the whole thing, it's a very pleasant arrangement. But everybody just goes, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, why is it taking so long to...
Technical issues.
Yeah.
Time passes. There you go. Oh.
All right, so let's try this. So Jim, our Roku XD, our original Roku, has passed away. Okay.
Oh.
Well, you decide.
Yeah.
Our Roku XD has passed away.
Strong. I have one of the very first ones, and it still works fine.
Yeah, there might be something stupid, but it just won't connect anymore, and it has the same screen on for hours on end, and it won't go into the menu. So we fear that it is dead.
Yeah. Send it off.
I think I like that better. I don't know.
Send them to school and they eat the books.
Okay, so anyway, we probably wasted enough of your time here. So we got ourselves caught up on what's been going on and everything like that, including the death of our Roku XD.
You're pretty shook up by that, I think.
Well, that's so now we know what the plan is for the year and stuff. So we'll check back in about a month and see where we're at with things. See if we found anything, and then also see if maybe we have a replacement for our Roku.